So MGTOW, as you already know, from my perspective, is a philosophy, a mindset of men going their own way. I am also adopted that philosophy. Um, I didn't have a name to put to it until I encountered the name and looked at either videos, read articles, and realized, yeah, that's what I am. I am part of the MGTOW movement. And as far as I know, there's no set group somewhere where there's meetings and things like that. And if there was, I probably wouldn't be involved with anything like that. Because the philosophy of MGTOW, from my perspective, is going your own way. Another way to look at it is an ancient idea stemming back from Eastern philosophies, is the idea of entanglement. And entanglement is like a prison, like a trap. You're entangled in a web, so you can't move, you're trapped. You're basically imprisoned. And although the term entanglement applies to spiritual growth and development, freeing oneself from the material energy that binds us to this world, like the physical body, homeowner, being a homeowner, working 9 to 5, chasing money, relationships, all that falls under material energy. The other aspect of entanglement, again, like I mentioned, is spiritual. So even though what I'm going to talk about seems how it is spiritually based, it is applicable to you guys in MGTOW. For young men in particular, it might be a little bit tougher because you're young, inexperienced. You got your hormones. You're still developing physically, mentally, emotionally, and the other healths as well. So there's a little more chaos going on where he's trying to strike that balance. So in that chaos, one of the things you should consider is how you're entangling yourself. Previous videos I've talked about, going to school, getting a degree or a trade, getting a job, buying your own place or having your own place and be financially stable. All those things are necessary to physically live in this world, and more importantly, to develop relationships. However, those are all entanglements as well. If it's not treated as a tool for your own personal growth and development, the entanglement, it creates an entanglement where you forget yourself, and now you're focusing on those things while neglecting yourself as a spirit being, or more importantly as you. Even if you want to take the spiritual stuff out of it, you're ignoring yourself, or you're putting yourself on the back burner. Self-care is very crucial to healthy relationships. And even though you outwardly have the nice car, you have the house, you have a stable job, you have money in the bank, but you're so busy maintaining those things, you forget yourself, you're neglecting yourself. That's entanglement, and that's the entanglement that I would want you all to consider in MGTOW, freeing yourself from that. Now, going your own way, you're already on that journey of reducing or eliminating the entanglement. But it's important for you to understand or be aware of the term entanglement, because if you don't know it, you won't have a focus. And part of that entanglement, or getting rid of entanglement, of course, is standing your ground, knowing yourself, etc. So you know your value and your worth. So as you navigate through MGTOW, and you're simplifying your life in the sense that your house is being paid off, you don't have a car note anymore, You still have you have money, but you don't have to stress about working as much. Even if you do maintain a career and be ambitious in it, it's not a defining factor in your life. You don't want any of these things to really define you. You want to be free of them, uh, and use all of them as tools, as aid for to enliven or embolden your life or nourish your life in ways that being entrapped, that the entrapment can or entanglement kind of stifles your life. You basically freeing up your life. It's kind of like that air filter in your car or in your air conditioner unit. You got to change it from time to time, even though it's more efficient when it's clogged. You don't breathe as freely. Your other aspects of your vehicle start suffering, or yourself starts suffering when there's too much dirt on the air filter. It's just a comparison. There are other comparisons. That one may not fit all of you, but hopefully it helps point you in the right direction of what I'm talking about. It's easy to fall back into entanglement, and I'll give you a good example from my own personal life. I've paid, as I mentioned in a few videos, I've paid off all my bills. My house is paid for. My cars are paid for. All I have is my monthly expenses and income coming in. And then I went and bought a boat. And quickly realized, like a few weeks later, that I am entangling myself again because I was bored. However, being attuned to myself and understanding what it's like to be entangled financially and in relationships, and being free, I have the comparison, and you guys may have the same comparison if you are attuned to your environment and yourself. Keep in mind, entanglement is just another way to identify the entrapment of relationships, and that you've gotten fed up with and you've gone your own way when it comes to women. However, entanglement doesn't necessarily mean that you can be trapped again like you were before. Because you're aware of the entanglement, if a relationship comes along, you can still have the relationship without entanglement. And that doesn't mean you can't get married and none of that stuff. You will just create a situation where entanglement isn't there, and still have you and the person you're with can still have fulfilling, happy lives. One of the problems that lead to a lot of disgruntledness, sorrow, rage, failed relationships is the level of entanglement that occurs usually in a few areas. Finances, where you run up credit card debts, trying to keep up with the Joneses. It's buying now, paying later, plus interest on top of that, so you're never able to save or make money. That's one form of entanglement, that financial stuff. So get debt free in that regard. Don't keep up with the Joneses. Save your money. It's easy to fall back into that trap where you're counting the money you're going to get next month, so you spend on credit this month. Those are things you don't really want to practice too much. You got to be self-aware of that. As far as entanglement, as far as in relationships, is another form of entanglement. Just because you get into a relationship, you can set ground rules up front, where you're not imprisoning yourself in a relationship. If you know this is not the path for you, or you can't compromise on certain things, don't. And if that person can't compromise or understand that you're not going to compromise on certain aspects, things that you want in a relationship, then that is not a relationship for you. MGTOW allows you to be free of entanglement, but without understanding entanglement, you can set yourself up to be bored, to be lonely, and and it can lead down a path that's even more dark than being entangled. Um, so, I mean, ask questions in the comment section down below if this interests you. I could talk more on the spiritual side. Again, all the stuff I'm mentioning on entanglement is spiritually based from Eastern religions, but it is applicable to MGTOW in that you do not want to entangle yourself into relationships unnecessarily. And if you see yourself becoming entangled, you remove yourself from it. And there might be some withdrawal symptoms, like of course, loneliness, heartbreak, things like that. But it's necessary if you want to remain untangled or free, where you can breathe um, in a way that enhances your life. MGTOW allows you to do that. It's like a step. It's one of those stepping stones to freedom, to joy, to happiness, to all those things. Either alone or even with a spouse or a relationship. I do not see MGTOW as just men going their own way with no woman in sight. No spouse in sight, no family in sight, just men going their own way. It's a very rudimentary way to look at MGTOW. MGTOW is bigger and more complex than just going your own way. You are going your own way. You are finding yourself. You are finding virtue in yourself. So you can lead your family in a direction that as a whole can go its own way and break away from the influences of the world around, especially with social media and all that stuff. Even the things I'm talking about is an influence to some regard. However, I'm presenting it as an idea, something to think about. And if it's for you, apply it. And if it's not for you, go your own way. And find your own way. So like, subscribe, share the video. Maybe somebody will benefit from it. You all have a good day.